We're looking at the thujopsis dolabrata, the Japanese Hiba Cedar, and it's kind of like an arborvitae, except check out the underside of this foliage. It's got these pretty cool white spots on the underside of the foliage. Stomatal bands, they're called. The top also kind of looks like a giant clump of club moss, if you know what that is. So it's a pretty cool, it's supposed to be slow growing tree, but they look really healthy. These came from Keeping It Green Nursery in Washington. I highly recommend that nursery for hard to find evergreens, conifers. I've got two of them here. There's another one back here. And also from Keeping It Green, this little pine tree is a Mexican white pine called Pinus ayacahuite. And I'm going to try that as an alternative to the regular eastern white pine, because so many of them around here in Middle Tennessee have died off for potentially unknown reasons, but probably a combination of root rots and other climatic stresses. And I just want to see if the Mexican white pine will do any better. So actually it's a bit of a question of whether or not it can survive the cold temperatures here, but it does grow in the mountains of Mexico, and those get pretty cold, so we'll see. And then right next to that, also from Keeping It Green Nursery, is a Himalayan white pine, sometimes called a blue pine. This is Pinus wallichiana, and I'm trying it for all the same reasons, just to see if it does any better than our native eastern white pine in dealing with the heat and humidity of the southeast. And actually, regular eastern white pine does grow in Tennessee, up in the mountains of East Tennessee, but it seems to be stressed in Middle Tennessee, so that's why I'm trying these alternative white pine species. One more thing from Keeping It Green. This little guy right here is araucaria angustifolia. So this is a southern hemisphere conifer from Brazil, sometimes called Parana Pine, southern Brazil, and it does snow there and get kind of cold. So I've seen online where some people have successfully grown this southern hemisphere conifer in Middle Tennessee. So this is a little bit of an experiment. All of the other members of this genus, araucaria, they're all southern hemisphere, and a lot of them are actually tropical conifers. There's just a few that can handle cold temperatures. You've probably heard of the monkey puzzle tree. That's related to this, but that's more of a west coast thing where it stays cool in the summer and not too cold in the winter. Supposedly this is the one species of araucaria that can handle the hot, humid summers and cold, freezing winters of Middle Tennessee. So a little bit of an experiment. Now this is not from Keeping It Green Nursery. This is a close-up view of the foliage of a Japanese yew, Taxus cuspidata. And if I step back, you see it's kind of trimmed in an unusual way. It's got this big bush at the bottom and a long stick and another flop of foliage here at the top. That's actually because I trimmed off all of the multiple trunks. And over time, I'll eventually trim away some of this lower foliage too. What I'm trying to do is establish a true single trunk tree. And here at the top where these multiple branches are coming out, it's doing that because they trimmed it. Let's see if we can show this. Yeah, see right there? At the nursery they trimmed it. This is from naturehills.com, a really good nursery, and I'm not criticizing them for trimming it that way, because when I got it, it looked nice and conical. That's just the way a lot of people do, but I'm going for something different. I want it to have a single trunk and grow in a natural form, so I'll select one of these to be the new vertical leader, possibly this one, and the rest will trim away or trim them back halfway, and hopefully that will make it grow like a normal tree.